going on, buddy?
Man, what's up?
Turn your phone sideways. I
I'm
gotta
on.
always remind you. There you go. That way we can see the whole picture.
My eyes probably not looking straight at the camera because it's phone so long. But
Look at
you'll have
that.
to live. You'll have
Look
to
at
live
that.
with it.
Look at that fancy couch you got, man. It's like that's something that might be in the White House or something, buddy. You sitting on Joe Biden's couch,
Man, I stole
or is
this.
that
Don't be
Kamala
talking.
Harris's couch?
I stole this. Don't be telling everybody.
Yeah, we're waiting for 18 wheels. So, good evening, guys. We doing a kind of a brief live tonight. Sorry we didn't go live last night. We all kind of had some issues last night with weather and just time just didn't work out. Bear with me. I've got the football game on. For some reason we got a little bit of feedback. Maybe I don't know. Maybe your phone is it loud or something in there?
No,
Okay.
but I don't have my headset tonight. It's in the truck.
That's fine. We'll work with it.
Is it better?
Yeah, that sounds good. We already got 8 people on here, so I had a few texts from some guys wanting to know if we were going to go live tonight. So we got Jonah Green in here, Austin Tanner, Jermaine's in here. So we got 8 people in here. Really don't have a whole lot to talk about tonight. The only thing that we're really going to talk about is recruiting. Like I said in the title, we kind of stopped recruiting about 3 weeks ago because some of the things that were going on at JB Hunt, we just didn't feel comfortable with bringing people in at that time. And the major reason was we just didn't know for sure that we could, provide the loads that we needed to with what was going on. And in so many brief words, the preacher there got a little upset. JB Hunt did some crazy stuff, changed some stuff around. Well, they ended up changing stuff back. Right now, we're all doing pretty good. We've all had good weeks. Things have seemed to turn around. Anybody that wants to come over, we're back to recruiting until things change, if they ever do again. Don't really know for sure how that's all going to work out, but right now everything seems to be working good. I'm going to lay it over to Poppy here. He's probably got a lot more information about it than I do, but that's pretty much the gist of our show tonight. We got 18 wheels coming in a little later, but go ahead, Poppy. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Well, I apologize for being so at home. I mean, it is what it is. Picked up a load in. Where did I pick up? I picked up in Macon, Georgia. Going to Baltimore, and I'm about 7 days from my annual inspection being up on the truck, so they'll shut me down. So I actually ran an hour out of the way to come by my shop where I get all my work done because they know my truck. They just went over it with a fine tooth comb 4 weeks ago. So basically, I can just roll in there and get a sticker. I really don't need an inspection. They know the truck. I keep it in tip top shape. So I thought, well, that'd be the smart thing to do. I didn't want to get out on the road and some idiot somewhere take advantage of me and try to charge me a bunch of money to get a sticker. You know how that scam works. So anyway, so I called up to the shop yesterday and talked to Josh, and I said, because they only have one guy per shift that does inspections. I said, hey man, working tomorrow? Yeah, you're good. 3 to 11. I said, great. So I just happened to get about an hour out, 30 minutes out, and I called up there and I said, hey Josh, yeah, I said, dude working? No, man, he called in today. I said, well, ain't that some crap? So I was 20 minutes from my house, and it was like 4 o'clock this evening. I said, I'm not going up there and lay in a truck stop till 6 o'clock in the morning till they come in to get an inspection. So I came home. So I'm on the couch. I apologize for the jacket, but I am. The wife don't have the air chill down. When I get tired, I don't know about anybody else, but when I get extremely tired, I chill. And I am wiped out this week, James. I don't know. Well, I guess I got to looking a while ago. I left Monday morning. I've already run 2,609 miles. And I'll leave out in the morning and I'll run 450 to Baltimore and 450 back. So I'll have 3,500 and I'll be back home before lunch on Saturday. So I'm exhausted. So I apologize. It's almost like I got a fever right now, and I'm not even sick, but I'm chilling. But anyway, back to JB. So I did get a little irate. We had to take that video down because I was on a tear. But I give everything I have to this company, and as you know, and I feel like that I deserve honesty, and I didn't feel like I was getting it. And anyway, I just told you, and you agreed. I said I can't in good faith bring people over here and tell them I'm going to help them because I could be out of here in 2 days, or they could fire
Yep.
me. They could terminate my contract. And but it calmed down, and I've talked to a few more people, and so right now, I mean, we're all making good money, and as long as look, I'd like to work here 12 more years, James, not go anywhere. There's a lot of good things about being here, and I can make a good living as long as they leave us alone.
Yeah.
But
Same here, man.
sometimes they're a typical mega corporation, mega company, mega carrier. They can't leave anything alone. They're constantly changing stuff, and you can always bet that it's going to benefit them and not us. If you go back and watch a few videos ago, I went over in depth the difference in working for a freight broker or a mega carrier, same thing, and working for an 80/20 company, which is spot market, which is totally different. And as much as I like the benefits of the mega carrier, the curses are just as bad. But I will say this with all honesty: out of all the mega carriers, I think JB Hunt's the best. Um, all around. If I didn't, I'd be somewhere else. But and we've talked about this before. The rates are just not at a position where you and I can just take off somewhere else right now. And so if they'll let us do what we do and not mess with us, we're all. I had another $5,500 week after their cut, and so that's about what I average. And I go home every weekend. I think I'm the only one out of the 9 of us that does. But well, that's not true. I think Josh goes home about every weekend. I don't think Jermaine's been going home every weekend, but I think Josh has. But of course, the Florida guys, it's smarter and probably more efficient for y'all to stay out 2 weeks at a time because y'all have to take such a hit financially coming out, or you got a deadhead, 350 miles out of there. But everybody's still doing good, and I mean, I hope you don't care. I'm going to blurt it out, and you can just cuss me later. You got a $6,800 week this week after their cut, and you're a Florida boy, so you're going to make 1,300 more than I did.
Actually, I just looked. It's about 5,500 is what I'm going to end up with.
Oh, is it that? I thought it was 68.
Yeah.
50,
I thought it was
55 's the
too.
number?
Yeah, 55. I just
Well,
looked.
but still, you're
still
doing
good.
the same money I'm doing, and you live in Palm Bay, Florida. I mean, that's a long
Yep.
ways from anything. You don't just pass through there. You got to be going there to get there. But yeah, it's been good. And what we're going to do, James, I'm just telling them what you and I have talked about. If you'll come over here and you'll use Brenda, which is our recruiter, and you'll use Jeff, which is our SFI guy, we'll help you, and we'll do everything we can to make you successful. I'll answer your questions. I don't know if we've ever said this publicly, but James kind of takes care of YouTube. He takes care of answering drivers' questions at email. He calls drivers and answers questions. I deal more with making sure the driver's successful once they get here. The freight, make sure they get the freight they need, make sure they get the coordinator that they need. That's another thing that we've really not covered, but I've got it set up now where if you do what I ask you to do and you come to us first, use our people, I can steer you through the onboarding process and make sure you get to my personal team where that gives me a lot of advantages to helping you. So you need to use Jeff and you need to use Brenda. Now listen, If you don't do that, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but there's no money in this for me other than when I do get money from JB Hunt. And so that's not coming out of your pocket anyway. So come to JB, come through us and get here. You'll get all the benefits. We'll make sure you get steered in the right direction. Listen, we're like any other company, James. I don't want to call them dispatchers because they're not dispatchers. I'm the dispatcher. They just help. They're a coordinator. But
People contact.
We're like any other company. We have good dispatchers, good bad dispatchers. We have good coordinators, whatever you want to call them. We have good ones and bad ones. If you come through us, you're going to get a good one. And so just do that, and I'll help you. Now, what I'm not going to do, and I covered this might have been the video before I got in the rant, but anyway, I accidentally got in a situation where I was booking all the loads for 9 trucks, and it was just too much, and it never was meant to be that way. And so if you come here, I'm not going to book all your freight. Now, I will help you greatly the first couple of weeks, teach you the ropes. And I'm not telling you if you get in a bind and need a load, I won't help get you a load. I just can't, we've got probably James, 6 people in the pipe right now that's coming. I mean, I just can't be a dispatcher for 15 trucks and run my own. So it's nothing, it's nothing personal. It's just the way we have to do it. And I'll get you with good people at JB that'll help you. And then I'll help you and make sure that everything's going good for you. And so we're going to help everybody we can. Now, just everybody needs to understand trucking in general is fluid. We could do nothing wrong and go in tomorrow and JB Hunt could terminate either one of us or both of us. Or all of us. Yeah, or all of us. And or they could come in tomorrow and say, you can't do X, Y, or Z anymore that we do to make a living, and we'd have to go somewhere else. So just understand that we're giving you the best information we can give you based on today. And that is today that everything's going decent. And the customer I've mentioned before that was having product issues that was really hurting us, things have got a lot better there. And I found out, I don't even think I shared this with you, James, but they switched their system over up there in Arkansas, and that really caused a lot of chaos. And so it wasn't just the ingredient issue, it was a whole new system. And so that's got better, and the loads, now they're behind on a lot of their loads, and they're cranking them out, as you know. We can't even cover them all.
Right.
And so things have got better there. So come on over, and we'll help you. Try to make sure you're successful. Out of the 9 guys we've got, James, nobody's failed. Nobody's lost their truck.
Yep.
So we got a pretty good track record going right now.
We got about 2 months with all the guys over here, I guess. Solid. 2 months solid.
Yeah. And keep in mind, we brought them all over here to run Toyota, and then we lost Toyota.
Yeah.
So we had to back up and regroup, and we've really done exceptionally well to have to start running different lanes and, and a new customer. And so it's been really, to be honest with you, it's been great for the economy that we're in, the market we're in. And then on the fact that we had to learn on the fly, and it wasn't just me and you learning, we were learning for 9 people.
Yeah.
And so it's been pretty good. I mean, could it be better? Would we love for it to be better? Yeah, we sure would. I mean, I'd like to get back to those 10 weeks when 9 out of 10 weeks I cleared 3,500 after all my bills,
Yeah, I'd like to be at that point too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, and we'll get there. It's about time for this. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to this election, and I've shared with you before, I think it's going to get better regardless of who wins. Obviously, I think it'll get better, way better if it goes one direction. But we've talked. I think it'll get better either way because I think the uncertainty is really hurting us right now. And I'm not just talking about JB Hunt. I'm talking about the market in general.
Well, with one good thing, and again, the customer that we haul for, they're pretty busy all year round, but they're especially busy during football season.
Yeah, holidays, football season.
Holidays, football season. It kind of coincides with alcohol and beer is what it
Yeah.
does. But that's what keeps us busy. That's what keeps us rolling. Is we found something that seems to work, and it works for us. And for the most part, you were talking about you go home every weekend, but the ones of us that don't go home every weekend, we try to get home every other weekend. I go home about every 10 to 14 days is what I try
Yeah,
to
and
do.
everybody else does too.
Yeah.
Mike does, and Tanner does, and
that's just our choice. That's my choice too. I want to,
yeah,
obviously make as much as I possibly can. My
yeah.
my head scratch is itchy tonight for some reason. Excuse my French, but what's going on? 18 wheels down there, buddy. Looks like you got a big can of Heineken there. Is what it looks like.
No. I'm working. This is water. It's
Okay.
pure water, okay?
Yeah.
It's just liquid death
What's
water,
that
man.
hat you got on, James?
That's my international hat.
Oh, I couldn't
So,
see.
you want the Diamond Rio hat? I got
Yeah,
it right
get
here.
that Diamond Rio hat on. Let's meet in the middle, baby.
Yeah. It's a beautiful mess, man.
Shout out to the beautiful mess, Diamond Rio, baby.
Yeah, that Diamond Rio hat, I love it, dude.
James and I hooked up yesterday. We crossed paths in Jasper, Florida. Yeah, last night actually. And I called him and I said, "Hey, we're all in this app where we can track each other." And I said, "Hey, we're gonna meet down here." I said, "I got a T-shirt and a hat in the truck for you." So we met at the Pilot, and I got James hooked up with a shirt and a hat, and then so yeah, I'm a big Diamond Rio fan. I don't mind.
You know what's funny is I went to Miami today and I'm watching a football game, and the game is in Miami, and I was watching all the cars getting parked this afternoon. I'm like, man, these people are going to the game early. I mean, it was 10 o'clock this morning. They were already starting to go to the game, and I'm like, man, I'm getting out of here just in time because I was literally just a couple hundred yards from where the stadium was.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the game on right now. I hope it's probably flashing in my screen in my phone.
Yeah, same mine.
I know we all got the game going right now.
Yeah,
because I got it right over here to my left hand. Just
it ain't gonna last very long though, because I am wiped out and I'm going to bed, and James has got a couple more hours. He can drive. He's got to roll.
Yeah, I sure do, man. It's gonna be a short live tonight.
Y'all forget we do YouTube and we Diamond Rio. We live stuff just like y'all do, but we also got to work and we also got a truck to run,
So let me go through some of these questions, guys. If you all have any questions for Poppy or anything for me,
well, I got a question first before
go ahead.
Go ask in the comments. What is it? Diamond Rio or Diamond Rio?
Diamond Rio.
Diamond Rio.
Oh, what's that? What's that all
about?
Yeah,
you're too young to know anything about that.
It's a country band from the 90s, man. But Diamond Rio is actually, you look it up, Diamond Rio is actually an old semi-truck brand. The Diamond T is in the Diamond Rios. They just named their band after the semi-truck, Diamond Rio.
Gotcha.
Many moons ago. They haven't made Diamond Rios since probably the 40s or 50s, maybe 60s. Chris?
Yeah, I'm too young. I don't know about all that.
You don't know about the Diamond Rios?
Man.
Anyway, it's from years and years ago. Let's go through some of these questions. Jonah Green, like I said, it's a good evening. Austin's here. Jermaine's here. My buddy Chris Thompson from OKC's here. I can't tell if he's praying or if he's clapping. One of the two. Wife is here. My wife is here. Says, hello, baby boy.
Hello, Nicole.
Life on 18 Wheels, Evening Peeps. So we got a question here. Are there areas they won't hire from, like El Paso, Texas? This is from Korean Army Girl.
Yes.
Will they hire her from El Paso?
I don't want to say because I'm not a recruiter, but I do know there's areas they won't hire from. I can answer that. I just can't tell you about El Paso. I can tell you if I lived in El Paso and owned a truck, I wouldn't work here.
So, Korean Army Girl, I put my phone number up there. If you want to feel free to give me a call, I can hook you up with the recruiter and we can get some answers for you.
We don't have freight west of Dallas.
Dallas, yeah.
We have loads that go to Phoenix and California, but what I'm saying is you don't want to have to deadhead to California or Dallas to get a load out every time you go home.
Yeah. most definitely.
It
So
seems like the hard line is the I-35 corridor. Like
yeah,
that's where that's just where the cutoff is for a
well,
lot of companies.
Yeah.
what it is, it's just that's the kind of the cutoff. If you live on the west, they keep all that freight on the west for the west guys, and then the east guys they stay east of I-35. That's how
Well,
that's
and nobody makes anything in that area where we're talking about. I mean, there's just no production there. So you've got the West Coast where everything's coming in over on containers, and it's got to be shipped by train or truck, and you do have some manufacturing, especially like I guess some in California and some up in the Northwest, but in that area in ain't nobody making or building nothing or shipping
No,
nothing in them
funny thing
places.
is a lot of the shipper these like big companies in California has moved out or outsourced or opened up warehouses in other states. Like for example, Nike, they opened up a big old warehouse down there in uh in Arizona just to help with all that overflow stuff coming from California, just to not deal with a whole lot of. So they'll actually have containers coming off the ship, and they'll have them go straight over the to Arizona and drop it off at their new facility over there.
right. So Matthew says, "Hey, is JB Hunt pretty good right now?" Well, that's what we were just talking about. We're doing pretty good with what we're doing. Um, I don't know where you're at now, Matthew, but again, feel free to give me a call at my number there tomorrow, and I can discuss it with you and hook you up with whoever you need to, and also talk with you and see if it's a good fit. The Bull of the Woods says, "What's up?" And PNW is reefer country. PNW. I wonder what that is. What's PNW? Do you know? Phoenix, maybe? See what he's saying?
Phoenix Northwest.
Pacific
Maybe.
Northwest. Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It was
Reefer.
something.
Yeah, I knew it was something. I had to think about it. So we got 13 people on here. Anybody got any questions for Poppy Rose out of here? Because I know he wants to get off here soon. It's going to be a real quick live.
Woo, gotta get in the bed. We gotta get up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, Pacific Northwest is what it is.
You have fun with that.
Yeah, I'm not going to be too far behind you. I'm going to drive this hour and a half out. And I'm going to find me a nice little place to cozy up to. So what are you thinking, Chris? You thinking going the Columbus way is the best way to go? I think so.
Because you're not going to get. Otherwise, you're going to be dead in the water in Atlanta, and then we're up there to park.
Yeah, I don't really look forward to going to Atlanta.
Yep. I'll go through Columbus. That's the way I ran it when I ran it last time. I ran up through the woods today to miss Atlanta, and man, was that a good move. I got up there to the split at 75-16, and the road was shut down 3 places between there and Madonna. It was raining, and I was like, oh no, we gonna run through the woods.
So which one of our guys were you talking about that's going to start doing containers? Is that Jermaine? Or was it Josh?
Josh. That's Josh.
I was kind of curious about that. You said it's out of Atlanta, huh?
Yeah, he said he just knew that they were starting to run some containers again with owner ops because they shut that down there for a little while and was just taking care of their company drivers.
I'm always curious about that. Next time you talk to Josh, you're going to have him call me because I got to have that information for when people call in and stuff, Because I get calls from guys in Atlanta.
And I would always say default to Brenda because I may give you bad information because
Right.
I only talk to Brenda once every 2 weeks or something, and they constantly change stuff, and
they do.
So I might be giving out bad information. You'd be better off to ask Brenda. She's the know-it-all.
What's up there, country? It's been a while, man. I hope things are going well with you. Hope you figured out where you're going to go to. I don't know if Schneider's going to be the answer. Speaking of which, how's your stuff going over there, 18 Wheels? How are you doing?
Man, I'll tell you what, the last 2 weeks have been abysmal.
Yeah.
But, I got it figured out. Could barely run anything substantial, but now I got like 4 or 5 loads booked ahead of me. I'm booked up until till Friday. So I'm back to being good again. Hopefully it stays that way. As long as I stay out of Florida, I'm good. To be honest with you,
you had a lot of cancellations too, all of a sudden too, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
So I had I got into the groove of going from Texas to South Carolina, and I had booked up some loads that that I had in Texas going back to South Carolina because I'm just going back and forth, back and forth. So I ended up getting a load over to the Dallas area, got a load back from there going towards the Atlanta area. And when I got there, it was a load of tires that I picked up from Oklahoma. So by the time I got there, and it was supposed to be a drop and hook. What ended up happening was I dropped, but I never hooked till the next day because they didn't have any trailers, nor did they want to give up any of the trailers that they had. So I ended up, so the load taking me back to the Dallas area again, that got canceled. Well, no, that didn't get canceled. That went back on the load board because I couldn't fulfill my obligations to go get that load. No trailer, couldn't get the load.
Was the trailer issue at Ardmore? Is that where it was?
Where at?
Ardmore, Oklahoma.
That's where I picked it up from. The Bridgestone, I think.
Yeah.
Bridgestone. Yeah, I took it over to yeah. So
yeah, I pulled out of there.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few Schneider drivers as well while I was over there as well too. So I did get a trailer the next morning. I had another driver come, and I guess he does the loads all the time, so they just let him bobtail inside, and I ended up just hooking up to the trailer he had. And I wasn't planning on doing the 34, but I ended up having to do one because the load that I booked after when I finally got the trailer, that was picking up on Tuesday. So that's fine. Get up Tuesday morning, I'm heading over to Lithia Springs, and the agent calls me and tells me that the load's canceled while I'm 10 miles away from picking up the load. So I'm sitting around on 285. You guys already know how hectic it is that time of the morning with no load. Just, am I going to go around in a circle? I'm going to try to find something pretty quickly. I'm looking, and I'm looking for something specific because I want to go back to Texas because I want to be obligated to the loads that I already booked. I didn't want to lose those. They were paying pretty decent. Finally did find a load, but I had to go to Jefferson. So it's about 50, 60 miles outside Atlanta and pick it up. And it's these loads that I've done plenty, couple of times before, pretty easy loads. They're multi-drops, but other than that, it's a pretty chill gig. So I ended up getting that. Didn't go where I needed to go, but it took me back to Texas, to the San Antonio area. So I finally got that done because I did half of it yesterday and a couple of it this morning, and I was supposed to pick up this load that I'm on right now and bring it up to Waco to unload same day. Well, that didn't end up happening because I'm sitting outside the shipper right now waiting for him to come in the morning because apparently they close at 2:00, which the agent didn't bother to tell me. I'm thinking they were open all day. So the load that I was supposed to pick up today to go deliver tomorrow, it's hanging in the air right now. Me and the agent for that load, we've been just sitting here just playing it by ear because it has to be delivered by 5:00 tomorrow. So I got to pick it up from Dallas, take it about 250 miles over to Louisiana, and then drop that, get that unloaded. And my whole plan after that was to bobtail back to Dallas area to pick up another load for that same agent from that same area. That's supposed to take me to South Carolina. And from South Carolina, heading back to Texas again, but this time back down to Houston. Then from Houston, I have a load going to Alabama on Friday, which is a swap out with another driver. I think it's like a FedEx load or something like that. So hopefully, if push come to shove, I lose out on the load going to Louisiana, but I still have the same load going to South Carolina because it's coming from the same place. So hopefully, if that just drops, I still have that other load. I can take that, go to South Carolina still, get my load back to Houston, go to Alabama, figure it out from there afterwards. There's a whole lot. Yeah, I know.
And I say this to my guys all the time, and you just proved my point. In this market, there's just no margin for error. And when I say no margin for error, it can be a bad decision you make. It can be a load canceling. It can be a pickup day or time changing. All it takes is you can literally go from a $3,500 take home check after all bills and expenses to $1,000 just like that with one problem. And there's just not enough revenue to overcome that most of the time. I mean, I'll be glad if we can just all hold on. I'll be glad when one day when the money's good enough again that you can survive a mistake or two during the week. Right now, you just can't. I mean, you just can't.
Right. And on top of that as well too, because I know the agent that I'm picking up these 2 loads for, it's a dedicated customer that they have. So my whole goal with everything being canceled, because what I could have ended up just doing was I could have just found any other load going anywhere else and just go about my business. But since this is a dedicated load and it's in Texas where I like to go, and I can get loads going to Texas, I can be more secure that I can just call them up instead of looking on a load board for their load and be like, hey, I'm here. What do you have in the area? Where is it going? I could, take care of that to build that type of relationship. That way I can get a little something that's a little bit more stable in an area where I like to go to instead of just sitting here just looking at the load board all the time.
Yeah. And James and I probably don't talk about that enough with JB Hunt. The reason we do as well as we do is because we run the same lanes all the time, and we're not dedicated, but it's almost like we're dedicated because to me, in this market especially, it's just easier to do better if you can do the same thing week in and week out. And we do like you do, 18. We run where we want to run. I kid people, but I'm really not kidding very much. I don't get above Interstate 40 if I can help it, unless I'm coming home. And I just live right outside of Knoxville, so I'm not much above 40. And sometimes where I live, I have to run up to Baltimore or something. But I do not run 95. I do not run the Northeast. I do not run Chicago. I try to run I like to run Texas too. I've not run Texas as much lately. Now this coming week, I'm going to Dallas. I'm going to Dallas with a Coca-Cola load. It's not soda. It's bags they use to put syrup in. It's a light load. But I'm going to Dallas this week to Coke, and but I've been running a lot of Florida. I like running the South. I'll run Florida. I'll run Texas. I'll run Texas to Florida and Florida to Texas if the freight's there. But I talk about, people don't know. If you don't drive a truck, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But interstates run east and west, and they run north and south. North and south is odd numbers. And if you're running east and west, it's even numbers. And it starts in the south, and the further north you go, the bigger the number gets. So you got 10, 20, 40, right on up, 64, 70, 80, 90 at Chicago. And I tell everybody else, I say, where you at? And they'll say, I'm in Indianapolis. I'll say, oh, that number's way too high for me, dude. I don't get above 40. I'm down here at the bottom. I like 20 and 10. Well, I don't really care much to 10, but I like 20 and 40.
So there's a question on here. There's a question on here.
Louisiana, they can have that 10 and 12. That road's rough.
There's a question on here for you, Poppy. I believe this is for you. He's asking, this is Big Eye, he's asking, is Aislip, Illinois a drop and hook? I've never been to Aislip, Illinois. Have you?
He's probably talking about Allsup, and then no, it's a lot.
Allsup? Yeah.
Yeah.
Allsup, Illinois is a live unload. I don't go up there either, but I know because I got guys that do.
That's one of our customers, right?
Yeah.
The customer
Mhm.
that we were at. That's what I thought. Yeah. So
And I
it
don't
is.
mind this.
It's a live unload.
It's a live unload, yeah.
Okay.
Ron
wife
runs
said we
Allsup a lot. I don't. You haven't been to Allsup, have you, James?
No.
You've done
It's
Beloit
too
though,
close
and
to.
I've
too
done
close to
Sterling,
Chicago.
Michigan. I've done Sterling, Michigan before, but I have never done Allsup, and I've never done Beloit.
No problem, big eye. My wife says that we all look so tired. All three of us need to get rest.
Tell your
Well-
wife how bad I looked last night in Jasper, Florida.
It's
Yeah.
just the It's just the angle. That's it.
Yeah,
I
I
had a
think
little
it's.
bit of time left on my clock, and James saw me, and he looked around, and he said, "They got some spots here, Papa. You might want to go to bed here." I said, yeah.
You said that, not me, man. He's like, yeah,
I
I think I'm
yeah,
going
I
to
think
stop
I
here.
will. Right over
I
there.
said, there's like 4 spots over here. I think I'm stopping here for the night because you were going to drive another hour. So,
Woo.
uh,
Yeah.
So you all work at JB Hunt's, what the Bull of the Woods says. Yeah, we're at JB Hunt for right now. It's working for us. Again, like we said before, they could always turn the lights out on us.
18's at Landstar, but yeah, me and James are at JB.
That's the way it is right now. But again, the lights could get turned out at any time. We run it
You
as
know-
much as we can.
You know what's funny? I was
Yep.
sitting here contemplating on whether or not I should start investing in either start about getting my own authority. And I said to myself, I was like, it's a pretty terrible market out here, but what if it ends up flipping? I mean, Poppy has this idea that it doesn't matter who's getting in the next office. It's gonna have to turn regardless, because we can't go through with this for another 4 years. Companies are just gonna have to start spending money regardless. So I was just sitting here thinking earlier, and I just started watching some YouTube videos. I'm like, how much is it really to get your own authority? And
Well, we have a couple of our guys that are doing it right now, so I can answer that here in a couple of weeks. But yeah.
from the information that I got, just a little bit of Google search and just watching videos, it's relative. There's like 2 ways to get your authority. There's something about your cooking your authority, and then there's just a straight through just getting everything done at once and whatnot. So basically, the cooking aspect of it is where you just you don't necessarily add your truck to the insurance. You add like another vehicle, like a smaller vehicle, like a car or something like that.
yeah,
You got the insurance and stuff, and you just
Correct.
let it just sit there and
That-
marinate for
It's
like
called-
6
that's
months.
It's called maturing your authority is what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I heard it's called cook. I mean, they call it different
cooking.
different names.
Yeah,
you
we were
growing
talking
the
about the
baby or
same
whatever it
thing.
is.
Yeah.
And then the other aspect of it is like dumping all the money in all at once and just doing it. But when I was just looking at just getting your general freight and all that stuff, your MC number and whatnot, if you can do it by yourself, it's relatively cheap to get in, barring your insurance for your truck. And it got me thinking. I was like, I could see why and understand why so many people just went out there and just got their authority so quickly, and why there's so many carriers that we have going on, and also why so many people fail, because like the threshold to get in is massively low
yeah.
for the potential gains that are pretty much massive. And barring the fact that you'll probably have to run for like the CH Robinsons and stuff like that, if you really want to make some money instead of just cooking your own authority, you can make pretty decent money. This is just some random dude I was watching on YouTube. He only ran 13,000 miles in 3 months and made $50,000 in
What's the
this
name of
market.
What's the name of that YouTube channel you told me about, Chris, that he can watch, that Blue Ribbon or whatever?
Blue
Oh, I
Ribbon
wouldn't
Logistics.
watch-
I
no,
watched that. I watched that all the.
I wouldn't watch them lunatics. They
Well, I still watch them because they're here over at Landstar.
Yeah.
Doesn't some just like with everything in life, not everybody makes sense, but they always have a point or two that
Correct. I'll
that'll
tell you
stick
who
in
you
your
need
head
to
and you
watch.
can.
If you're thinking about getting your own authority, and I'm not just talking about to you, I'm talking about to our listeners, our audience. If you're really thinking about getting your authority, there's two things I would do, and I can tell you this because I've been doing this a while. Even if you just do it for a brief period, I would go to work for an 80/20 company first,
Mm-hmm.
like F2F or Advanced Trucking in Indianapolis or SRO Logistics. I do that for just a little bit, so you got a little bit of safety net and security because what that is, those 80/20 companies, that's spot market, and that's what you're going to have to run if you get your own authority, is spot market. You're
Right,
not going to
right.
be able to go to the marketing department of Walmart and say, "Hey, I just want to pull Walmart loads with my own authority." They're going to they're going to laugh. They ain't even going to talk to you.
I
You're
heard
going to
that
have to
JB
spot
Hunt.
market.
It's like 6 months of it. It's like 6 months of maturity that they want in order to
But
even have access to
here's
their
what you
load
need to
board.
do, and I recommend this to everybody. And this guy's not a friend of mine. I wish he was. And if he ever sees one of our videos, I'd love to be his friend and hook up with him. There's a guy on YouTube, and he to my knowledge, I don't think he even makes YouTube anymore, but his videos are still up. He goes by Steady Trucker.
Mm-hmm.
He started at Snyder. If I'm not mistaken, he started at Snyder. And then he did Landstar, he did Mercer. I think he did Mercer, but he did F2F, and then he got his own authority. And the guy he's just a wealth of information. He would show his numbers. He would put a whiteboard up and draw on it every week, and he was a boatload of information. And he told you the pros and cons of everywhere he worked, and you'll learn more from watching that guy's videos than I highly recommend. If you're thinking about getting your authority, go watch Steady Trucker's videos. He's out of Texas, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure he lives in Texas. I
What, you
used to
firing
watch
up
his
some?
videos.
You firing up some incense there? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Some
So you got some stuff comments here. Jesus' name above all names says
in
until
Jesus' name, amen.
non-citizens are barred from commercial truck driving in the U.S., there will be no incentive to raise rates. And that's kind of a
correct.
true comment. Big Eye said, "I'm
It
sorry,
holds its weight.
Country says getting your authority is cheap. It's just a few $100. The cost comes in with the first year insurance, and cooking doesn't work." And I agree with him. The cooking doesn't work. It needs work history to properly age. So
So now
basically,
that
with you cooking the
you go ahead.
books, yeah, with you cooking the books like that, you're not showing any work history. A lot of the brokers aren't going to work with you because you don't have any proven track work, more or less.
Yeah, and with in regards to the insurance thing, I actually found an insurance company, whether or not they're cheap or not. Instead of just paying like the whole year or the 6 months off bat, they actually charge you by the mile for your insurance. So that might be another. That might also be a route that some people are also taking to circumvent the high cost of insurance on that first year.
So Big Eye said he ran at F2F on the spot freight. He sucked at it. It's a lot harder.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, but
I agree.
At the end of the day, just if you do, in my opinion, if you're gonna run the spot market or you're gonna get your own authority, it's best to at least try to have some type of team behind you, because you're gonna spend a lot of time running that truck. You're not gonna be spending a lot of time doing paperwork. You're probably not even gonna want to be interested in doing paperwork. So you'll probably have to find like a team or a company that can make sure to keep you in compliant and make sure that your stuff is up to date as well too. Because let's be real, a lot of us, we're trucking because we want a truck. We don't want to do paperwork.
yeah.
If we wanted a desk job, that's what we'd have been doing. But we decided we want to be sitting behind the wheel for 10 hours a day, 8, whatever.
That is true. So Country says something to look into for sure about that insurance thing.
Yeah, I got it saved on my phone. So if my mind gets more curious, I'll just look into it, and just to get more information from that. And if I ever do decide to be that crazy enough to go get my authority, then I'll reach out to my SFI rep and see what the next steps are to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point too to make about the SFI thing there, 18, because when you go to, they'll let you switch. You can move your truck anywhere, but where you move it depends on how much more deposit they charge you. Like for us to move to F2F, it's $500. It's no deposit. It's just a paperwork fee. I know I checked in at one time months ago at moving mine to Mercer. I was going to go back to pulling flatbed, or thought I might, and they asked me $2,500 to go to Mercer. And if you can get your own authority, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if Snyder didn't ask you $5,000 deposit to do that.
Yeah, and also by some accounts, I've heard some drivers say that it also depends on how long you've had the truck or how long you've been leasing your truck with SFI. That can determine what your down payment is when you go move into a lesser known company, or say for instance you ever decide to be crazy and get your own authority.
Yeah.
Anybody got any questions? I'm gonna probably cut this short. I got like 10 or 15 minutes left. I'm gonna have to roll out of here.
Yeah, you got to roll, and I got to go to bed.
It sucks too because we got 17 people on here right now. Been rolling for 47 minutes. I wish there's anybody who's got any questions. Anybody needs any answers of anything, call me. I'll put you with the right people, or I'll put you with Poppy. Country says, I recently went through the Mercer process and was going to switch, but there was no increased deposit for them. But I heard $13,000 for their own authority, or $10,000 for their own authority. Country, that's somewhat true. I called NAST, and he said it would be anywhere between $75,000 and $9,000 to go to a company that they don't like. If you had your own authority, or you went to a company they weren't aware of. Because I asked about SRO Logistics, he said it would be every bit of $7,500.
Yeah, and I asked about Mercer. I want to say it was 6-8 months ago. It's been a while, and they asked me $2,500 to move the truck.
Yeah, and I asked about Blair Logistics, which is a flatbed company, and I think he wanted like about $3,000 or $4,000 just to move over there, because they didn't know who that company was either. So
Big Guy says, good video, thanks. He paid $1,500 to go to F2F. That's probably been some time ago. Right now, it's only $500.
I was just about to ask him how long ago that was for.
Yeah, because the $500 is actually they charge that for the paperwork, and then they didn't ask us any deposit at all to go to F2F.
Big Guy, where are you at now? You at Schneider, or are you here at JB Hunt?
I hope at JB Hunt will leave us alone and let us make money, because we're making good money if they'll just leave us alone.
Yeah.
Are they giving you guys some headaches?
Well, they just constantly like to change things, and
just go back and watch the live a couple weeks ago. You can hear Preacher going off. Oh, you know what? You didn't get. I took that video down. You didn't get to see it, did you?
Yeah, I did get to see it.
Oh, that's right. I sent you
the only thing was I was just I was in the Ozarks, so I had some pretty crappy signal, but I got the gist of what he was saying, because I heard enough.
Well,
I was sitting there watching it.
To be fair, they cut the broker loads. They cut the rates really bad, and their argument was that we don't pull broker loads anyway, and they're correct about that. We don't want to pull broker loads. Spot market pays crap right now, but we occasionally have to pull one. But that wasn't what I was the most upset about. I was most upset. My whole point of the whole thing was, don't deny it and lie about it. Just tell people we're not making any money. We've got to take more of the pie. And and then what happens is you put the ball back in the driver's court, And the driver has to decide at that point, okay, can I work for this amount or can I not? But my whole point is, I just didn't want them. I didn't want them lying about what they were doing.
So
And
big guy said he put $500 for paperwork, $1,500 deposit. He's at JB Hunt. He had to pay $500 more to move, and then he said, "I moved to F2F in May, but now he's at JB Hunt since August." And
Well, I
my
tell
buddy,
you what, boy, the Dolphins are getting their butts handed to them.
Yeah.
I just saw they just sacked the QB. I'm like, man, that's
my
crazy.
buddy, my buddy Techno said that me and Poppy can go back to Swift. He said Chris will take us.
yeah, that's true story. I talked to Chris for about an hour last week.
Did I tell you he called me last week?
No.
I haven't told you that yet. He called me last week and he says, "Yeah, I'm just touching base. I just, that's my job." I'm like, "Buddy," I said,
Trying to
"Swift
get you in that new truck. That's what it is.
Swift can't. Number one, Swift can't afford me any longer. Number two, Swift won't bring me back anyways if I wanted to come back, because that'll be the fourth time that I've been there. I don't know anybody that's been there 4 times.
You already got 3 strikes.
Yeah, I already got the 3rd strike. There won't be no 4th strike, which is fine. They couldn't afford me anyways, man. The only way they could afford me is if they bump the pay up to like $1.50 a mile with the fuel surcharge, and that ain't happening. At that point, it might be something to think about, but it's not going to happen. Plus, they cap you at 2,500 miles a week. You hear that with every YouTube video you hear. Everybody says they're capped at 2,500 miles a week. And that was the thing that I said 2 years ago. So Country said he's eating sushi right now. We be in the Bills is what he says.
He's talking about the game, yeah.
Yeah, I love the people at Swift. Everybody that I had any contact with there, I loved every one of them. They was good to me, good as gold. But I like it at JB Hunt. I like what we do at JB Hunt. The money's good. If they'll just leave us alone, they can let us make money, or they could shut us down tomorrow where we can't make money. Yeah, I hate to keep saying it, and I know it rubs people the wrong way, but everybody can relate to owner ops competing with company drivers. Let's just pick on Snyder, okay? Since we don't work there.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, the safety, man.
That's bull crap for starters. But then on top of that, everywhere we go, because we pull high dollar freight, and so everywhere we go, there's Snyder Company drivers out the yin yang. The only way they'll bring an owner operator in where we're at is if they can't cover a load. So what I'm saying is they let their company, they try to keep their company trucks on the high paying loads and the light loads, and then their owner ops get the heavy loads that don't pay crap. Okay.
That's why I always say working with a company that has lease operators and company drivers is just
it's a problem.
It's a problem. It's a step. I would say it's a stepping stone, but it's not the end all be all to stay there, because it's not in your best interest if you're trying to own equipment, or
and
try to be successful.
That's where I'm going over here without trying not to just blurt it out is, we don't have company trucks over here we compete with. We have the white Volvo division that we compete with.
The white truck. I'll just say it's the white truck mafia, because they come on.
You brought the white Volvo guys up. I was talking to Mike earlier, and he was telling me some in-depth conversation about him and his. I forgot what we were talking about, but he was really in debt. I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it!" I said, "Let me get this truck driver a couch next to me, man." He had both of his feet up on the dash, driving down the road in the Volvo. And of course, we know what the white Volvo division is. I have never seen a truck driver more comfortable than this guy before. I wish I could have taken a picture of it. I really do. Thank God he didn't have to shift gears.
Mike's in the bed right now, but you need to ask him tomorrow, James, about his run in this week, or I think it's this week. He's in the bed trying to sleep at a truck stop, and he gets woke up and he hears this. And he gets out, and this dude's trying to back in beside him, and there's 10 people out there trying to guide this drunk guy in beside him. And I swear to God, when they got it backed in, they all 10 got in the same freaking truck. Like, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I mean,
It's,
what are they doing, paying them $100 a piece a week?
Well, you remember back in the day, CR England, and I want to say Schneider did it too. I can't confirm that, but I know CR England did. They had 3 seats in the truck. Okay, with
I can
seat
tell you one. I can tell
The
you
3
one
bunks
better than
with
that.
the Freightliner that has
Yes.
the extra bed on the.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
I
crazy.
can tell you
man.
one better than that. Snyder takes the bottom bunk out of their company trucks, and they got a bench seat back there with seat belts in it that'll hold 3 people. So you got 5 seats in that truck.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
That's for like training or
That's
actually
just
training.
running or
Oh,
running
I'm
loads.
talking
'Cause I'm
about,
about
no,
to say,
back in the day, CR England had 3 bunks in the truck, and
I
that's how
think I think some of them still do. You just don't
it's
hear
a
about it
3-seat
anymore.
truck is what it is.
So to finish my point here before we shut it down, that's what we compete with because they'll pull these loads cheaper than we will. And
Yep.
so they want to put the high dollar light loads on that division because they make more money. And so we have to be very smart to get our loads. And so they could at any time they could just say, hey, you can no longer pull for that customer. We're going to let the Volvo division pull that. And we'd all about 9 of us that I know of, we'd be out of here in 2 days.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I just
If
call
that
it the white
happens.
truck mafia because they're not just in Volvos, man. They're in the Volvos and the Freightliners
Well,
and
yeah,
the
it's
Internationals.
white Freightliners too. And you know what? I realized today, 18, I passed a couple of them today, them white Freightliners. You know why they buy them white trucks, okay? First of all, white's the cheapest color you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to remember that those Somalis and Haitians and whatever else they are, they're not buying that truck anyway. Some fat white 50-year-old dude went to an auction and bought 3 of them for $30,000, and then he puts them in a truck 3 at a time, and he pays them $300 a week a piece. So he's getting $900 worth of 3 drivers, and he can run that truck till the motor blows, and then he just leaves it wherever it blows. And then he goes and does the same thing again. Those 50-year-old white fat dudes is the ones that need to be rounded up and done something with.
So are you blaming white people for the problems
Yes.
that we're having?
I absolutely am.
Well, me and you kind of fit that description, so be very careful, man. 50-year-old
Well, we're not out buying 3 white Freightliners or Volvos for 30 grand.
I saw a high class one today. He was driving a white Peterbilt.
Well, man, I mean that white fat dude, he probably hit the lottery or something.
You know, the funny thing is, by the
Well,
time they're
actually,
done with that truck the truck isn't even white anymore. They
That's
never
right.
washed. They never washed them, and when they do finally wash them, it's like the dust doesn't even come off the truck.
Well,
It's just stained at that point.
You know what's even funnier about that is most of them have the steel wheels on them. They don't even have the chrome wheels. They got the steel wheels on them, and by the time they're done with them, the wheels are dark gray or black anyway.
No, as the lunatics say, the shipper doesn't care what your truck looks like when you pull up in it.
Hey, you know it's another thing too. You ever seen them with racing slicks on?
I have.
No.
Sure have, man.
No, but I have seen.
I seen them pull up to the truck stop, and it's just straight racing slicks, man. Not
It's because they don't
one
have any
groove,
tire
no
tread.
nothing.
I don't know. They're gonna have some problems.
Not a tread on the truck whatsoever, man.
No, but I did see Ron go off on a truckload of them one day when he pulled up beside them, and they was riding around with 3 tires so flat they was flown off the freaking rim on the drives.
Hey, they gotta get that load there, man, by any means necessary.
Ron's kind of like me when he's passionate, boy, and when he's had enough, he's had enough.
See, the only thing at the end of the day, right? The really big problem is when they're done doing what they gotta do, and they go home. That $300-500 that they're getting every week, that's like that's big money from where they come from. That's
Correct.
$500 would probably last them a good 6 months. Where they come from, they could probably build a pretty nice house. When they go back home, all their friends think they're rich, but just due to inflation and how the currency works and all that stuff, they're going back home with nice big houses when they get back home. They take
Yeah.
and not really knocking them for it, but at the same time, I am, because you're taking money out of the economy and taking it elsewhere, and
Well,
not reinvesting it back.
they're driving rates down in the basement. They'll work for nothing, you know.
And beyond, how many of them are actually paying taxes? You're
None
not
of
going to
them.
be here long enough.
None of them. I can tell you because I got a buddy that works for a major company in construction, and that's all they hire. And he holds taxes out of them. He has to. But at the end of the year, they get every bit of it back because they're allowed. And I'm going to get the number wrong, and we should research it probably before I blurt it out. But I want to say it's like 11 kids that they can claim, and they don't even have to provide social security numbers, birth certificates, or nothing else on them.
I might have to go get me some more kids, because that
Yeah,
sounds like
me
a pretty
too.
good deal.
Me too. Absolutely.
Don't you dare say it, James. Don't you dare say it. I'm reading. I'm looking at you. Don't you dare do it.
Well, hey, you know who's got more kids than him?
Who?
I'm talking about. Oh hell, what's that guy's name? Nick Cannon. You know who's got more kids than Nick Cannon? The
Tyreek
guy
Hill?
me and you. Yeah, the guy me and you were arguing about. Listen to this. Tyreek Hill got stopped and got a speeding ticket because.
You sure you want to get into that right now?
No, just listen to me. Listen to this. Tyreek Hill has 11 kids with like 8 different mothers, and the 2 kids that he had last year were literally minutes apart from each other from 2 separate women, and he got caught speeding going from hospital to hospital to see the births.
Yeah, true story. True story.
What kind of car he was driving?
Yeah, my wife said racing slicks. That's when the tires are slick. They don't have any tread on them anymore. She probably wanted to know what it was, but I can't tell if she's laughing or clapping or what on that.
She's surprised. That's what
Raymond says I'm his, I guess, Spanish rabbit. He said my wife is a naturalized citizen and it pisses her off to see this shit. Yeah, that's funny she said that, because that's actually true, because Mike's wife is Dominican and she's pissed off about it too all the time. How these people come over illegally. It's not supposed to be that way. Come over the right way.
Yeah, let's be clear about that. Well, I can only speak for me. I won't speak for you two.
Yeah.
I'm not against immigration, but we're a country of laws, and I have a friend right now who went on a Carnival cruise, and he met this girl that was working on the ship, and they become friends. And they've actually been dating for like 2 years. And he decided he wanted to marry her and bring her over here. And you would not believe the thousands of dollars he's had to spend and the hoops he's had to jump through to get her over here legally. And they just walk across the border down there and get the moon, man.
All right, guys. I think we need to figure out what we're going to do here. If we're going to keep going.
You got to haul freight, and I got to go to bed.
Yeah, we're at
here.
hour and 4 minutes. Anybody got any questions? We'll give it about another 5 minutes, and we're going to roll off here. If anybody's got any questions, pop them up. If not, give me a call. 18. I think I'm going to run off here too, because I got to get to driving.
Well, that's good enough. I'm chilling. I'm not worried about anything.
If you're up tomorrow, man, we can go live again there, 18, if you want to. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
So, wife says thank you, Hubs, Poppy, and 18 Wheels for your sacrifices. Get some sleep in. Raymond says, I caught y'all a little late night, folks. Yeah, catch the replay, Raymond. It's kind of funny. We said some stuff at the very beginning about recruiting again. If you need to, give me a ring if you have any questions. Guys,
Y'all
I think
be
we'll
on
keep
your
up
own.
this.
Y'all be on your own live tomorrow night because my load coming back home is going to be ready at midnight. And I don't run nights, but I am going to get up and start running about 3 a.m. so I can get back home. And so I will not be doing YouTube at 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow night.
I hear you, man. All right, guys.
Old man is a wuss. I used to run them nights back when I ran entertainer buses. That's all we ran, man. Midnight, 1 o'clock till noon the next day. Whew,
I'm
too
solar
old for
powered,
that.
so
Too old for that.
I'm solar powered, so I don't got time. I don't got
I
time.
didn't even, hey, 18, I didn't even order headlights on my truck. That was an extra $250. I said, we don't even need that. Just leave that off. Yeah. Yeah, just leave that off. We don't need that.
We don't need it. I got you, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Everybody have a good night, man.
All right.
Enjoy it. We'll talk to y'all later.
All right, guys. See y'all later. Good night.